Well, hello YouTube. Let's learn how to grab all these elements from all arrays inside of our multi-array using first the manual method, and then we will proceed to do that dynamically using for loops, actually two of them. But first I need you to understand how to do this manually so we can put this into kind of algorithm. Okay, so cout, what is the target? Multi-array, and now these numbers here inside of brackets, this is for structure. So this two means we have that array and then we have that array. So two of them totally. And inside of those individual arrays, like internally, we do have three columns. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So this is why we have 3 here. So this is for structure. Let me repeat that and remember that, for structure of your multi-array. Okay, now down there we are not constructing anything, we are just printing stuff on a screen based on position. So inside of our multi-array, this thing will be, let me actually type that, this thing will be on position 0, and let me type something here, this thing will be at position 1. Okay, so internal dedicated arrays inside of our big array. Okay, now let's grab stuff by position. So what is the position, the index of this internal array into our bigger grouping? Well, it is 0. So how many of those we have columns? So we have a 3. So first we need to start from 0 inside of 0 array. So we are extracting 0 position, the value on 0 position. So following that logic, we also need, because we have 3 columns, 3 values, we need to call this thing 3 times, and this one will be 1 and this will be 2, because internally, and let me actually type that because I want you to understand this, internally this thing, let me type that, this thing is 0, this thing is 1, and this thing is 2. Okay, so now this 0 corresponds to this stuff, and 0, 1, 2 corresponds to this stuff, right? You probably get that. Now if you don't, just think about this and even print on a piece of paper and do practice. Okay, so let me go to next array in our grouping, big grouping of arrays, and let me type that manually here. So again, what is our target? The same multi-array, and now the target array is on the general position 1 in this big grouping. Okay, in big grouping, see, we have a comma here as delimiter. Just imagine here vertical line, so 0 position and 1 general position for those individual arrays. Okay, so let's grab this stuff down there, and also the same stuff for positions inside. So we have position 0, position 1 and position 2. So same thing down there, we are starting from 0, that one, and let me copy paste this to save a little bit of time, 1 and 2, because in total, see here, in reality we have 3 columns. Okay, 3 columns and 2 rows, 2 individual arrays, smaller ones into bigger grouping of arrays, multi-array, multi-dimensional array. Right, so also here let's have like separation, vertical separation, because I don't want everything to be concatenated. And let me check result, I think everything will be fine. So yeah, there you go, 2, 5, 6 and 4, 7, 9. So this is manual extraction. Now if you're confused with this mathematical approach like matrices, breathe a little bit and then try to do this manually on your own. And yeah, I probably said just put things on a piece of paper manually and then type it into editor if you don't get that. Okay, so I'm gonna assume that you get this stuff. Okay, internal positions and global positions in big array, and now let's do this stuff manually. Oh, sorry, automatically using for loop. Inside of for loop, so external for loop, we're gonna start with integer row. So rows are primary here, like first horizontal stuff, we need to create that, and then we're gonna extract stuff based on columns. So the initialization is 0, okay, because that is always 0 when you're grabbing stuff by position in C++ and all other modern, well, most of them, most of programming languages. So the top value will be 2, and now we are talking about how to represent actual structure in for loop. So these are not indexes, this is not that, this is actual representation of how to roll through actual structure. Right, so top of 2 rows, there you go, and how to jump from one another, you know that up till now. And now inside of one for loop we're gonna have another for loop, integer columns, because we need to work with that, starting point 0 and ending point less than 3, because C, this is another part of the structure of our multi-array. So I don't know how you're gonna remember this, like you can here remember that you're putting the left side and down there that you're putting right side, something like that, basically depends how you think. So column equals column plus 1, and when you do this, basically this kind of approach, algorithm, like solution, will roll through all these positions automatically. And let me think, of course we need actual operation, and now inside of this last for loop we're gonna do operation of printing. Now let me check, multi-array is target. So now we're gonna need to type here row, and because this is our structure, first row and then the number of columns. So basically this is printing by indexes, by combination of indexes from all rows and columns, automatic stuff. So column, and let me finish with end line just to check what kind of results I have. Right, so 256479, that's cool, but yeah, I need to have them like horizontally. So my bad. Here I'm gonna use just a space, and I hope that we're gonna get correct result. And there you go. So everything is like concatenated, which is stupid. So what we need to do in this case actually, and just remember this for every other programming language you're gonna use when you are messing around with multi-arrays, in between these for loops you need to have like a horizontal, like a break, in HTML terminology, break. Yeah, you can put that here, like cout and end line. Yeah, we can do that. And let me check the stuff, and there you go, you have your solution. So if you need more space between these things, you can just type here T, and that stands for tab. So that this is the symbol, this symbol is a representation of tab on your keyboard. So let me check that. There you go, the thing works. So basically what we was, what is the correct term in English, I don't know. What we were trying to do here is printing automatically printing the structure, and let me actually try to paint that. Okay, so this is row 0, let me type that, row 0 with positions 0, 1 and 2. So I'm not talking about here about values, I'm just trying to paint here the indexes. So these are actual values and these are indexes. So first row, okay, first for loop will be for rows, for handling automatic pass through the rows, and second for loop will be for handling columns. So these are positions. So let me like paint that. This is position for second array, and let me paint that kind of stupidly, but I'm gonna try somehow. And here the situation is pretty much same, and 2, and there you go. So this structure we got by basically using for loop inside of for loop, and we were doing combination of every row with every column. And when we get that value based on index, okay, then we are printing those individual values automatically. So I do understand completely that this tends to be a little bit confusing, but in reality, if you really want to be like good in C++, you also need to have kind of nice mathematical background. So if you know the mathematical stuff, then you understand matrices like on piece of paper, and what you need to do, just practice through a couple of these matrices like through C++. And yeah, if you are like totally confused, don't worry too much, because if you are going to do like a normal desktop applications, like handling, I don't know, like forms or even creating simple games, simple ones, then probably you will not run into this kind of stuff, but there are cases where you probably need to know this. And if you ever end up doing a job where you absolutely need to know matrices and extraction of elements from multi-array, even complicated ones, then yeah, you need to definitely invest a lot of time. But let me tell you something. If you are confused with this tutorial, just drop it, okay? Drop it, breathe, and go to some future tutorial. And if you ever need this stuff, like a low-level C++ stuff, you can always find this video or explanation on internet. Right, so I really don't have another way of explaining this, so I'm gonna end up here. Well, thank you for watching as always, and I hope that manual, like explanation from start of tutorial, help you a bit. So first, if you don't understand this, then try to understand that manual stuff, and then proceed to this automatic solution. Right, I'm gonna shut up. Thank you for watching, and see you next video.